Perhaps Patrick and Leda were simply in the line of cannon fire at the wrong time, in which case it would not be murder so much, would it?
Manslaughter? My aunt wondered moodily.
We regret to inform you that they've been manslaughtered.
Sounds wrong, doesn't it?
The butler was still studying the card.
Odd, he said.
The level of detail about the ship. Perhaps there are a number of pirate ships called Thistle Skull, and they needed to distinguish this one somehow.
It's scandalous, said my aunt.
It's rather as if they think you might want to run up an outfit for the ship on your sewing machine. A romper suit, say, and require its measurements.
Ha! said my aunt. She and the butler smiled. Their smiles settled down. There was a long silence. I took a sip from my chocolate, and the sun poured through the French windows. It sparked against the silverware and lit up the white linen tablecloth.
"Oh!"
cried my aunt suddenly, making both the butler and me jump.
"Oh, they gave me cloudberry tea, and now they're gone."
She began to weep noisily. She had been moved, you see, by the gift of the cloudberry tea that my parents had left in my pram, along with me. It was her favourite tea, and they must have remembered this.
"It is touches like that," she often told me. "The little thoughtful touches. Those are what distinguish the gracious from the rest."
She used to tell me I should aim to be just as gracious as my parents, so for a while I carried about a little notebook and took down the favourite hot and cold beverages, fruits, sweets and ice cream flavours of everybody I encountered. That way, when I myself grew up and abandoned my only child in the lobby of somebody's building, I would be sure to add a sample of their preferred treat to the pram. At other times, my aunt told me that my parents' approach to life was as chaotic as a barnyard fire. Now, however, we sat at the table in the afternoon sun and listened to Aunt Isabelle sobbing about the deaths of her brother and sister-in-law, and especially about the cloudberry tea. Chapter 2. The next day my aunt telephoned the family's lawyers, who invited us to their office for the reading of the will. A will is what people leave behind when they die. It's also the name of my dog, only with a capital W. And it's what Aunt Isabelle always told me that I had, only mine, she said, was very strong.
"You've a strong will there, haven't you, Bronte?"
She had frequently observed, sometimes irritably, and sometimes with a smile which seemed proud. "Yes," I had always replied, trying to be agreeable. "Yes, I have." Aunt Isabelle was surprised that my parents had a will.
"Don't you think,"
she said to the butler,
"that they were too chaotic for a will?"
The butler agreed.
"I'd have thought they'd be more likely to have a won't."
Aunt Isabelle and I laughed at that, and the butler looked pleased and laughed too. Then my aunt's laughter stopped suddenly, and she stared out the window at nothing. So the butler and I stopped laughing and stared at the same spot. I wore my white dress with the blue sash to the lawyer's offices, and was very excited because my aunt said that afterwards we would stop for an ice cream soda. There were 2 lawyers, both men with skin as white and damp as the flesh of an apple.
"You'll find the lawyers rather old,"
Aunt Isabelle had informed me earlier that morning,
"even though they are not."
I thought about that, but it made no sense.
"They're old for their age is what I mean," she explained. "It's because they're lawyers. Now, if they'd chosen different careers, circus performers, say, swinging from the trapeze—"
"Or zookeepers," the butler suggested, "frolicking with the friendlier of the lions."
"Exactly. If they'd done that, they might be quite youngish for their ages. Do you see what I mean, Bronte?"
"No," I had replied. But now I stared at the 2 men. They hunched in their chairs and their double-breasted suits, peering through their spectacles and chewing on nothing, and I saw what Aunt Isabelle meant. Their chairs were huge and soft, the kind that swivel and make squelching noises whenever you shift your behind. Aunt Isabelle and I had regular hard-back chairs that did not swivel at all and made no noise.